All right. Thank you for joining us again tonight on another episode of Mitten Athletics Live. As always, we are your hosts, Aaron Ide and Colin Hunter. Thank you for taking time to join us and listen to our never-ending ranting here, but just some fun banter.
We haven't started ranting yet.
All right.
I don't think we started ranting yet.
Okay. One day. As always, brought to you by Mitten Athletic Supply, your one-stop shop for all Gill athletic supplies, focusing mainly on track and field, throws, jumps, hurdles, you name it, we got it. Please contact us for any of your needs. We're going to start today by...
I got to learn how to be more enthusiastic about that.
What? All right. Listen. At 9:15 at night, it's hard for me to always be enthusiastic, so I apologize.
You should always
Come check us out.
Always be,
do it.
Yes, always be enthusiastic about selling discuses and shot puts.
Well,
shots.
I always am. But listen,
is it shot puts or is it shot put? What's the plural?
Shot put tie. I don't.
Tie. Okay, I think it should be shots put.
Shots put. Okay, shots put. All right, and we sell your shots put too.
Okay.
Listen, there's also a 6-year-old asleep right above
vault.
me, so I have to be a little bit quiet. But yes, you're right. All right, more energetic. Let's do it.
There we go.
All right, let's start today with a quick rundown of what happened this weekend. Any big performances? Anything that kind of stands out
from last weekend? And we'll probably just want to get in the rhythm here. So the indoor state meet is next weekend. No, the next one after that. The next one after that. But we're going to keep doing this in season. And so we want to just practice, checking out some of the lists and see what happened over the weekend. So I think the first thing, we're just looking at Jeff Hollabaugh's mistrack.org. We got the 2025 indoor lists.
We'll post links as well.
Yes. Yep. Not much I don't think anything crazy happened in the 60 or the 200. So I'm just looking through by dates and looking for anything from last weekend. But in the 400, last week at the lab, Rondre Ostian and Damari Caldwell put up a pair of 48 mids, 48.41 and 48.56.
Nice.
So they top the list there now. And that's almost they're also the top on the 200-meter track as well from Michigan from a month ago. But they just put up a nice time. So they each have 2 48s to their name.
Nice.
Let's see. We go down to 800. I'll let you take care of the field events. How about that? We go down to 800. Perfect. Henry Dixon out of Eastern, Forest Hills Eastern. He ran 154, which is no joke when you're indoors on a 300-meter track. At Saginaw last week. 154.00. So he's putting his name in the ring there at that distance. And again, I think that there's not, especially in I think he's D2. He's D2 and D1. There's still not really anybody really standing out to me. See, nothing new in the mile-ish. Oh, wait, TJ Hansen. Milrose was already 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, must be. Yeah.
Was it? Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it must be. No, it must have been. Dang it. Because Hansen ran 4:03 at Milrose. TJ Hansen.
Okay. Which is no joke.
Mm-hmm. So Michigan representation at Milrose. When we get to the girls, we'll also talk about Jess Jaswinski doing the same thing. She got TV time even. The boys was not on TV.
Anytime you can talk about track and field and TV time, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what level.
Scrolling. Let's see, there's finally some more 2 miles last week.
Is that
Mitchell
the
Hyatt
ESU?
Yeah, at Saginaw, their distance fest.
Yep.
So Mitchell Hyatt went 9:25, and Alexander MacArthur from Oxford went 9:33.
Nice.
Those are fine times. I think we're going to see that get obliterated this coming weekend at the Gazelle Elite 3200.
You bring all those best ones together, and
we've got a 15-12 5,000 Luke Long, West Michigan homeschool. 15-12 from a homeschooler is pretty good. 1544 Joshua McCry, I don't know, Macomb Lutheran.
Yep.
So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys under 16. Jack McGregor out of Howell, James Latstetter out of Flushing.
Nice.
Okay. Hurdles. Let's see, Zacchaeus Brox out of Detroit Catholic Central, 782.
Man, look at that top group though, between Smith, Brox, and Gamble. Just
Gamble
everything.
ran his best time of the season. Gamble ran his best time of the season, 786. Yeah, Gamble, Smith, Gamble, Brox, Gamble, Brox, Gamble.
It's just going back and forth. There's a good jump, 774. Your next one off, none of those three is 809. Like, I mean, anything can happen in the hurdles, but that's a
then we got Belleville. So Smith and Gamble from Belleville, DCC. Are they D1 or D2? I'm assuming they're
D1.
They're D1. DCC's D1.
Well, Belleville is. I'm pretty sure.
I know Belleville is.
Detroit Catholic Central, I believe. Well, I don't know.
We'll check it out. Field events. Go for it.
Field events. All right. Well, after a couple weeks ago when I made this comment and Colin called me out on it, Reese Amiat is now in the lead at 15 foot.
Was he? Oh, so he.
That was still a couple weeks. It wasn't this past weekend. It was a couple weeks.
Okay, so 2 weeks. So we did talk about it before then.
We talked about before then.
Before February 8th. Okay.
Yep.
15 foot.
See. Oh, long jump. We got a 24-foot long jump. Whoa.
Yep.
That is early in the season. Quincy Isaac out of Canton.
DCC is D1.
Oh, they are. That's gonna be a heck of a D1 meet. Then
gonna be fun. Yep, that's a hurdles preview right there. Okay, sorry. Continue. Pole vault, long jump. Quincy Isaac, 24 525.
Ridiculous.
Did he win states last year? You keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
You're jumping that and didn't. That's ridiculous. Triple jump, nothing big. Shot put. Nothing big from last weekend. Discus, we actually had, I think mostly because a lot of new people opened, which was nice to see. Stephen Wilkerson out of the Rochester Adams, 161.9. You got Adam Huff that opened out of Wayland Union, 155.7. Didn't look great, but he's a 180-foot thrower last year outdoors, so I think he'll come back around. Did you see that happen? I did. Yep. Okay.
So that was the meet that you guys were at.
Yeah, and so he didn't look. I mean,
past Nolan by 5 inches.
Tegan Simmons, Monroe, Gerard Alexander moving up from Walled Lake Central. He moved up, I don't think a lot, but that's maybe a couple feet from what he threw before. And then rounding out 146.3, Jackson Shaltree. Yeah, I mean, those are that top list right there. 146 being your top. I'm like count at 10. Let's just say that's deep. No weight meets this past weekend, so nothing to look at there.
I was gonna say something. Oh, if back up to long jump real quick. Quincy Isaac is the D1 defending champion
Okay.
That 24 feet is a PR. 24.5 is a PR. So his
Okay.
PR before that was 24.3 3/4 from his sophomore year.
Where's triple? Is he triple at all? No, he doesn't. Not yet. Give it a year.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's guys said that's
So
what's
most of
out
the
there.
throwers were throwing disc last week.
Yeah, I mean, disc and shot were the two things going on, and the shot meet was kind of, I don't say low key, but it definitely felt like it was heavier in the disc energy last weekend.
I was just gonna ask something about throws. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Well, that's great content right there. 4x4. There were some 4x4s last week. Looks like the
Yeah. Let's
Motor
see.
City Track Club 318.93.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, but I mean, regardless, I don't care when
No,
that
I'd say
was.
that was at Milrose. That was at Milrose. So
It
that's
was at
pretty.
Melrose.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's moving. Over
51, 48, 32, 50, 56, 48,
oversized
74.
track, go down one. Track Life and Michigan Accelerators, 324 and 326 last weekend.
Okay.
It's a pretty good race.
Yeah.
324 mid and 326 low. That's a good race right there. Good.
We got a sub 4x8 for the first time this year. 6 mile track club, 7:57.
Yep. Yep.
Kentwood track club went 8:05, and I'm sure somehow all four of those guys broke two. If you're a distance person, you'll understand the joke. Not sure if the Saginaw Striders, if they all broke two with an 8:11. I'm not sure if you can account for 11 seconds there.
I don't know about that.
Any other relays?
This
No
is
DMR. Oh, there was a DMR last week too. So 10:32 from Breen, 10:44 from Jackalope. I wonder who that is. I always wonder. I think we should figure out who all these track clubs actually are.
It'd be fun. Figure out where they are and where they're from.
Yeah. Actually, it's probably right on that document that Mick gave us earlier this year, but I digress.
It'd require me going back in my email and finding it.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
I'll go look it up later.
All right.
Okay, girls.
Girls.
Okay, same thing. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, another Oak Park girl broken in the top 10. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Discus, how many are they qualifying?
Oh, top 20.
Top 20.
No, they're doing it. It's not just top 20, it's top 20 applied and registered. And I did talk a little bit to them about this because before it used to be you could register anybody and they just took the top 20 registered. They actually put a cutoff mark. So the cutoff mark, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm gonna say it's 120 high, 128 feet range, somewhere in there. And then they're letting everybody enter up to that point, and then they're gonna take top 20 from there. And if they don't have 20, my guess is they'll open it up to a few more.
Is there can we see
No.
see the list right now? Is that possible? Athletic? Let's
Yes.
see.
Yeah, here.
Indoor.
I'll pull it up quick. You go through sprints, I'll
Great.
pull it up.
Disc compare top.
Hey,
what?
I said you run through
I want to
sprints.
see it. Okay. Okay, yeah. So another Oak Park girl is Asia Elder, 771. She ran that at the lab last week. Excuse me. The Cameron Tatum, 2472 in the 200. So the girls' sprints last week actually did some stuff. Taryn Henderson in the same meet, 2516. 400 meters. No new marks in the 400 in the top, whatever this is. Emery Ross Onstead, she ran somewhere in New York, the circuit. I wonder what that is. She ran a 600 and 132, and that's the fastest 600 time so far. Oh, no, that was her 600 split. I see.
Oh,
She ran a 203 in the 800.
Okay.
203 in the 800. So that was her 600 split in the 800. That makes more sense.
Is that what the hashtag is? The pound sign?
No, if you look over in the where it was, it says New York
I
circuit,
see. 69. Okay.
800. Yep.
Yep.
6092, 6303. It's the standard way to run that. That's about what we would tell somebody if they wanted to run 203. Oversized track. Layla Jordan runs 213. And that would be on the year the third best time so far, regardless of track. See, Jaswinski, she ran 446 at Milrose a few weeks ago.
The 448 to back it up in Chicago.
Yeah. She likes to front run, and so she was on the TV for the first half of the race, and then not really on the TV for the second half of the race.
Okay.
I mean, you make it to Melrose. I mean,
she likes to set the pace and basically.
So 448 for the mile. 446 was her 1600 split. 2 mile. Annie Krabowski out of Romeo, big surprise. To 10:30. Romeo. Fine. I pronounced things wrong. I'm very sorry about that. Katie Berkshire, 10:32. So that was a pretty good race. Natasha Dudek, 10:30. Oh, that was from the other second I meet. Kylie Livingston, Whitmore Lake, 10:37. It's a pretty good race.
So 30, 32, 37.
Yeah. Taryn Moore, 10:47. And
it's an
Eliza Schwass.
So we're clear.
Yep. Eliza Schwass, 10:59, 8th grader, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls under 11.
And of those 5, there's 3 girls who are 8th graders who are on that list.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. One of those that was not running that race was it was at the lab, but
yeah.
Okay. Let's see, hurdles. One new mark. Molly Brown ran a 9:05. It's pretty far down on the list here. Out of Farmington Hills Mercy. And field events.
All right. Nothing real big. Let's see. Pole vaults. There aren't any marks from last weekend that are bigger. Long jump, same thing. Triple jump, no. Shot put. No, there's a discus mark. Jada Ewell out of Royal Oak. 131. I mean, that's going to put a little pressure on Lorelei Zielinski out of Traverse City Central. I mean, at 138.6, but that's one good meet, and that can be a big comp. So that'll be fun to see. Other than that, that's what there was. Again, energy levels felt a little weird at the lab. Just not quite the same as I've seen.
Explain.
Shot felt very dead, both sides, girls and guys.
Well, none of the big names were there, right?
No, but then disc on the guy's side, there was the guy at Indiana was there, and it just felt there was some energy. The first heat more than others, but they run it backwards, and so it started at 8:30, and starting at 8:30 with their best flight. But a lot of these guys are driving in from hour and a half, 2 hours out. You just don't see the same type of comp energy.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
tough
think
getting out
that's
of it.
what
Yeah.
really caused it, but I don't know.
Um,
But
how
nothing.
would you compare this year's big names coming into the season compared to last year?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job taking over the places of the people that were there. We had a lot of very big names to kind of fill the shoes of, and I think the top performers have done well taking those over. I'm gonna get her name wrong, but she was from Allen Park, and I apologize. Anyway, she was the favorite to win all three last year when we weren't allowed to throw in three events. A whole different story, but you weren't allowed to throw all three, and she was the favorite to win all three. She didn't win the two she was in, but she won one of the two, and I think she would have won the second one. This year, seeing Zelensky come in for discus and seeing, excuse me, Addie Stiverson come in, both sophomores at 50 foot and shot. I mean, that's amazing to see. And then on the guy's side to see, Liam Takase going, or Takis, I get the name wrong. I apologize, but 70
We
foot.
talked about it at our throw off last year, and he scolded me for calling his name wrong, and I still can't remember what it is. So
Yeah.
sorry, Liam.
But to go 74 there, to see three guys currently over 161 in disc, to see Brennan going 61 in shot with Riley right on his, right in his back pocket at 58, and Mason Main at 57.8, Maxwell Stoker at 57.5. I mean, it's going to be a heck of a comp. Girls, guys, it's not going to matter. They did a really good job of kind of infilling what left, and it's going to be great.
Okay. 4x4 girls side, Motor City. Girls were also at Milrose. They went 345.
Oh yeah.
Deshauna Kellogg, Jana Coleman, Carrie Vanoy, Nevaeh Burns, 56.68, 55.29, 57.02, 56.84. So almost four girls under 57, that .02. Like the four girls going that fast right now. That's pretty
I'd
sweet.
be curious.
Pretty
I'd
sweet.
be curious. This Motor City Track Club, are they all out? I mean, they can't all be out of the same school, right?
I think a lot of them are. I can't remember. Is that Oak Park, or is that Renaissance?
I don't know. I really don't know.
There's one way to find out, and that is to look things up while we're recording live. What's her name?
Well, while you're looking it up, to answer your question from earlier, you wanted to know what the cuts were for
Oak Park.
Is Oak Park?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
It checks out. So looking at right now what the current cuts are, 20th place for discus, 139.9. I know there's at least one guy in that top group who is not from Michigan, so he will not be allowed to compete at the state meet. You'll probably see a few who won't do it. For selfishly, I'm really hoping a couple don't. Benji here at 23rd and Logan at 27th. I'd really like to see them get in.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but if not, I mean, hey, it is what it is. And then looking at the girls' side, currently Rachel Anderson, Portage Northern at 111.3 is 20th. Ooh, same thing. Selfishly, Olivia's sitting right now at 110.8, 21st place. I think
21st, there's a good shot for Olivia.
I think realistically, anything down to 23rd, I think you have a pretty good chance. People won't enter, people from different states, blah, blah, blah. I mean, so right now it's 109.8. So 109 might get in. FYI, way higher than last year and the year before that. So that'd be amazing. And then the same thing, guys' side. I could see Benji being the cutter close to at 136.5. Benji Leifer, and that would be, again, I think it's a lot higher than last year. So yeah.
All right.
That is
So
where
that
we're currently
is kind of the wrap up
Yep.
from last week or so. We'll check that out again going into the state meet itself. So that'll be next Thursday, won't it? That'll be
well,
yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes.
Might have to do things. We hopefully have a special guest next week. So
maybe
we'll
do like a special episode or something. We'll do like a little quick blurb.
Let's do it.
Okay.
This week, are there any other big meets this week?
Grand Valley.
The last Grand Valley meet. I'm assuming the lab has
the lab has one,
weekend, right? So
they have a very similar thing. They have the high school showcase, I believe, this weekend.
At Grand Valley, there's the Elite 200, and there is the Elite 3200. Are there any disc meets left?
LAB this weekend, they throw Friday.
Okay.
So
if somebody wants to do it, that's like the time to do it.
I would imagine it's going to be a smaller meet just based on it being, a Friday night. It's like 3:30.
Any of our boys going?
No, they're all competing Saturday.
Smart.
Yep.
Okay. Question of the day.
Yes.
Is it a question? Do we really form it into a question?
I don't know.
Open thought of the day.
Open thought of the day. There we go.
Who's introducing
I thought you were going to say it.
Okay,
I thought
you
were led into it.
The idea of the day. Private coaches versus team coaches.
Yes. I think this is in a lot of realms a hot.
It's not just a track topic.
No. This is a
sports wide topic.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk about. I don't think I can talk about it in the team sports realm, but I can definitely talk about it in our sport.
Yeah.
What I think about it.
My personal opinion is I think that private coaches have if done right, have a very good opportunity to really help kids get better. If they're willing to sit here and say that I want to help these kids get better, but I know my limits of once it's in season that I've kind of, they're going to be moving to that training. I think where we lose it a lot is a lot of coaches push too hard for the private side, and then all of a sudden it comes in season and they're trying to micromanage the training that's happening in high school practices because they don't think they're getting, in their mind, the proper training.
Right.
And then these kids are becoming overtrained because they're getting them with practice and they're practicing more, or they're getting them with practice and these coaches are telling them like, hey, you have to now come to my camp, now do this, now do that. Now, it's just, I think it becomes too difficult. Now, that being said, I think there's an amazing opportunity for a lot of high school coaches who can't coach indoor or whenever it is. And there's a lot of amazing coaches out there who are coaching clubs, who are coaching clinics, coaching this, who fill in that gap and know that the role is, hey, I'm here to help these kids get better in the interim. But once season starts, they're that school's athlete. And it's awesome. And right. I think there's a lot of good that can be done with these. I mean, if you look at it, in theory, that's what we are currently. We're still coaches for Byron, right? We're coaching at Byron Athletic Club. So,
but true or false, do we have athletes from other schools practicing with our kids right now?
True. But that's what I'm saying.
Sprinters and throwers.
So that is us.
Right.
So we are that right now, but we understand, mostly because we're also coaches at Byron, but we understand that once the season starts, Byron Athletic Club, I don't want to say closes, but the doors are closed until season is done.
Right. To me, even the just on the club perspective, like we started this thing really with the intention of feeding our spring season.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
To me, our kids PRing right now is great. Our kids competing right now is great. I want to give the kids a reason to be working out in the hallways in January, right?
Yep.
I want to
Yep.
give the kids incentive, and we're gonna have some fun at a few meets along the way. And if we do some cool stuff at the indoor state meet, that's great. But to me, the indoor season it serves the outdoor season.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna misprioritize that. Private coaches, if there's I've heard and read a lot of arguments for and against them. To me, the easy, like, here's where it could supplement really good. Let's say I don't have a throwing coach or a jump coach or a vault coach. I'm a distance coach. When I started coaching at Bayern, I had to learn to coach pole vault, having never had any exposure to the event before. And I got to the point where I can get boys to about 12 feet. I can get girls to about whatever a foot under our school record is. But past that, like the level of time investment, film study, and tweaking and spending with those kids daily would be too much to be managed with multiple events. So if suddenly our pole vault coach can't coach for us anymore, then if I can't find one, then I like to actually coach for our school, then I'm going to try to find a private pole vault coach.
Yep.
Same with throwers. Something happens to you, then I'm going to find, okay, if I can't hire a throwing coach.
Are you firing me right now?
No. No. But if there's, if a school doesn't have especially field events, like,
oh yeah,
if the school can't find field event coaches, then go find the private coach, because
I think that's the exception to the rule. I was going to say is during season, if you have a school who doesn't have a coach in something and they know it and they're not trying to be that, and they're like, hey, just go figure this out. I think that's where there's a really good opportunity for these private coaches, club coaches, to still be able to coach.
Now,
as long as they know
my question for them is, I'm always curious, and this is another across high school sports thing. If you're such a good coach, why aren't you coaching at a high school somewhere? Some people maybe just can't because of their job. Maybe. Some people, maybe it's somebody older who is retired, right? That's usually not what it is, though. So my question when this conversation always comes up is, how come a person, such a good coach, how come you're not at a high school or a college?
In playing devil's advocate on that part, I think there's multiple pieces to that. I think you're right with what their job is. I think that online coaching, digital coaching is so much bigger now too, that people are able to coach so many more athletes. The other side of it, I think there are people who chase I really just want to coach the best athletes out there, and I want to be able to put my name on, I helped coach this athlete, which
there is a popular online distance coaching service who I have gotten in a Twitter fight with, and I think Michigan XC Speed Ratings has gotten in a fight with, and other people, because it's pretty clear what their business practice is.
Yep.
And they're one of those. It is, if I'm gonna be completely cynical right now and petty, They lucked into a certain runner in high school who made a name for them and who turned out pretty good. And then at some point they stopped coaching at the high school that they were at, and it's always because of it's always administration's fault.
Sure.
It's always administration's fault. I think there's a lot of people who don't get along with people very well who blame administration. But yeah, then they go and find the fast kids and lure them in. And
yep.
On the distance side, like, man, distance coaches are falling off trees. Like,
at least if you're gonna blame
somebody, there are some schools who can't find them, I'm sure, but man, generally distance coaches are not the ones that we should be having this problem with.
Yeah.
And that's where I get super cynical. Like, it's really coaching distance runners is probably one of the easier jobs. Like, the training plans are out there. It's so easy to learn. You don't have to get super into the physics and the biomechanics. I don't got to film study like you do. I've got to keep kids healthy and make them want to run 50 miles a week, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
You can, to quote our strength coach Joe, you can do a lot of things with teenagers and they'll get fit.
Yeah.
Like when I talked to him about strength stuff, like, teenagers are very trainable. So, man, like, this private distance coaches in the high school space, I don't see much of a need for.
And this is probably going to go against what you would think I would normally say, but I think even a coach who has limited knowledge in throws can do a lot of damage with the right athletes, which I know is easy to say with the right athletes.
So damage meaning you could go do you can make some big numbers.
Well, so right? When I started
that's the thing though. Like, there was another thing on Twitter this week. Like, good athletes make bad coaches look really good all the time.
Oh, 100%. I'm not that can be said about any sport, about anything. I'm not trying to deny that, but I'm saying I came into a school when I started at Byron in 2016. Byron had a 155-foot thrower, and they had two total coaches. And I came into a 155-foot junior thrower. So, like, it can be done. But then again,
it can be done. But
if that thrower had gone to a private coach in the off season and spent time, and even during the season, he was a 170-foot thrower all day. So,
are you talking Travis right now?
No, Travis actually, he might have been a freshman or sophomore. No, this is Alec.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think I think that there is a lot of good with private coaches in the right circumstance if they understand what they need to do, and if they understand that, hey, I have 10 different kids from 10 different schools, and of those 10 different kids, 6 of them are going to go off to a high school program who have a coach that I'm not really going to be able to talk to for the next 4 months. And you have to be able to go, yep, and I did what I could, and they're going to come back in better than they were. But there are 4 kids that still need my help because they don't have a throws coach, a pole vault coach, a hurdles coach, I'm going to be there to be that. And that might be hey, they need me to come look at video every week. Hey, they need me to come to a practice once a week. Hey, they want me to come to a meet. You just got to understand what that looks like. It's going to look different everywhere.
Right.
But what I don't like and what we have seen is when you see a private coach that even might coach for a school, but then decides that you're at a meet and goes, you know what the best thing for me right now is? To try to recruit your athletes to come run for me. Like, once you're in season And if you are coaching for that school, especially, your job is to coach for that school. Your job is not your private clinic anymore. You're coaching for that school. You're not out there recruiting for your clinic. Like, I know it's counterintuitive and I understand that. Like, how else are you going to recruit? And I get that. But to be at a meet where you're supposed to be coaching your kids and you're spending just as much time trying to recruit other kids from other schools to come join your group,
Right.
That's just a bad look for coaching in general. And that just makes us all look bad. It makes everyone look bad.
Yep.
It confuses kids. It gets kids who, high school kids are already have issues with trying to figure out what they want to do, whether it's in school, whether it's personally, whether it's sports wise, and you start throwing more confusion at them, they don't need that.
Right. Yeah, well, we do this at our practice, and we do that at our practice, and we do this every day. It's like, well, you're making a lot of assumptions about what we may or may not be doing.
Well, and these people don't know these athletes. There might be a reason why someone doesn't do something because they
that's the thing.
Maybe they have an injury.
Oh, I saw this person last week, and this person's block start is terrible. You don't know what they're working on. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. You just don't know. Stop making
their block start might be terrible, but you know what? They might have had 3 other things that were terrible, and they picked something else as the one they were going to work on right now.
Yes.
You don't know.
Right.
And I'll admit, coming from a person who has, I just want to help. I'm a helper. I've always have been. That's what I am. And I will still see people at meets who are within our school, have a really good coach. And I'd be like, man, I just want to go over there and tell that coach, like, hey, what if we try this? You should try this. But I'm like, wait, hold on. No, because I know they know what they're doing. And I know that they're working on something, and this isn't it. And they see it too. They're not.
But then the fact of the matter is you're gonna like it's even okay to like if you go ask the coach what they're working on, that's a conversation.
Way different, right? Than going to the athlete.
That's so much different. Like talking to coaches and having a conversation together, like that's totally normal.
Oh, yes,
you are right. That's good. Right. Sharing thoughts and ideas is great. And especially like from what I've seen, I haven't seen much gatekeeping in the throwing events.
Oh, I like very little. Most any
like the throwing coaches like seem to love chopping it up together constantly. Right? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. There are a select few that are the opposite way, but
I haven't met one yet.
98% of throws coaches are willing to just go in and have a conversation because you know what? When we're looking at so many technical things, I will tell you right now, there's been, I can't tell you, 50 conversations I've had where someone's like, hey, he looks really good. Have you thought about this? And I'm go, honestly, no, because I've been so focused on trying to fix this. And then it makes a difference. Like, but yes. Yeah, it's crazy how the throws community in general, just athletes, if you watch them get together at a meet, like watch Nolan and Brennan and Liam and all those guys.
Conversation. You and Lonnie became friends as what was it, senior and junior or sophomore and junior?
Sophomore and junior.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you meet up at Michigan State. Like that's
yeah.
And the other athletes obviously all do that too. Like
I'm not saying
yeah. I think there was I forget what podcast I was listening to. It was probably the same one. It was probably Mike. But it was with I can't remember the guest. I just remember it was about this topic. But they were talking about a what's the actual like what do the decathletes and heptathletes like to be called? The combined events? Is that it? Is that the technically the right term?
Yeah, combined events.
I know they get grumpy about it.
I know.
We're the multis. We're the combined events.
We're the combined.
But that was an example of there was an athlete who had like 4 coaches because he was a combined eventer. And so in high school, they talked about the challenge of that and the pros and cons and how that worked. And it came down to communication and the coaches respecting each other and knowing what the athletes goals were. And that's a big part of it. Like that's one of the complaints that private coaches have is, all the high school coaches care about is winning the state championship. And so we're just going to burn the kids out by making them run the 1 and the 2 and the 4x1 and the 4x2 every single meet. And
they're talking to the wrong high school coaches then, because
yeah, there's people that do that. And
I know there are, but
there's days to do that. There's definitely days to do that, but it's not every week. It's not every meet. And there's still, we care about the kids' individual success, and I want our kids to become champions. But it is still a team sport, and so we have to balance that.
Yeah,
like we're not. There's a team championship for a reason, and the fact of the matter is, if I put all of that on one kid's back, we're not gonna probably get to that point because that kid's not gonna survive.
No.
Right. So yeah, I have to care about the individual's goals. And usually I really believe that more often than not, you can care about the individual and the team goals at the same time, and they're gonna meet in the middle. Like the individual is going to be the best they can be, and the team's going to be the best they can be when we're thinking about both those things.
Exactly. So I think the overarching, I guess, thought theme, maybe between the two of us, I'll speak for you a little bit, and if I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm completely wrong, but private coaching has its place. Private coaching can be very, very good. Private coaching is a great interim and fill-in for a lot of circumstances where there isn't always somebody that has the knowledge, has the ability, has the time, you name it, right? Coaching is one of those things that unless you're doing it full-time, and it's for most of us, even if we're getting paid, it's so minimal that it feels like it's a volunteer thing.
Right.
And you know what? We do it because we love it, or we wouldn't do it. At least in the track world. I'm not saying for every sport, but at least in the track world. And you know what? It's not a complaint. It's one of those things that I love doing. And if you said, "Hey, you got to do it for free," I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. The money I make it definitely helps balance the checkbook over here.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, I'd find a way to make it work because I can't not.
Yeah, and this was not supposed to sound anything like that. More than just saying, we do this because we love it.
Right.
And private coaching, if done right, can really help.
And that's the thing. That's the thing I've thought about, and that's part of what has made me not, so that's what has, I've thought about, okay, if coaching at Byron Center is at some point not an option for some reason. I would hope, I love being I love the team. I want to win a team title. That's like team stuff is my thing, but if for some reason that's not possible, like I'm sure I would probably go all in on coaching somehow.
Yep.
Right.
But you have the understanding to know that you can coach all day, but as soon as it comes time, if they're on a team,
right,
to let them go the team, you have to go, hey,
exactly,
I'm here when you need me, but the team is where you're at. This is where you're training. This is where you're practicing. You follow what they're doing.
Yep.
Even if you don't 100% agree with it, even if it goes against things that we are talking about,
right?
It's the team. We're not fighting this whole group,
right? Or it's the other coach, right?
Or it's the other coach.
I'm not gonna go coach a distance runner and tell him, hey, my training plan is better. So,
Now, if you want to have a conversation,
don't run what your coach is telling you to run. Do this instead. And that
if you want to have a conversation,
putting the kid in a bad
coach to coach.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have the conversation coach to coach and say, hey, listen, we've been working on this. Here's why. Here's what I think works. And this is for the reason. I'm just giving you this information.
Right.
I love that. I would take that all day. If somebody was coaching Nolan right now, and because I couldn't, and they came to me and said, hey, we've been working on X, and this has really been helping him, I would love that. Hey, I appreciate it. I don't get to see him all the time, so thank you. This is what we're working on, and maybe we'll keep trying. We'll keep pushing that. Or, hey, we'll wrap it in, but this is what we're going to work on this year for this reason. But at least they gave him that knowledge. You gave him that, what you know. But
ultimately trying to control the situation from the outside it's putting the kid in a bad position.
That you got to
on the distance side, if you're making the kid choose between what his teammates are doing and what you think you should be doing, that's putting a teenager in a bad position.
Yep. 100%.
And I just don't like hearing about those things. And so, when we do get upset about this topic, that's why.
That's why.
Ultimately, that's why. It's if somebody wanted to talk to me about what they thought the distance runners should be doing, like, talk to me, right? Don't put the kid in a bad position.
No.
If there's something lacking in the training that our runners are doing, then I'm man enough to hear it out. Don't put the kids in a bad position.
Yep. If you are not here as a high school coach to try to set these kids up for success and try to do everything you can to fix it, you're probably here for the wrong reason anyway.
Right.
So that's all we really care about, is trying to figure out how we can better these kids in every aspect of life and make sure that when they leave and they're no longer around us, they have got something out of it that makes it worthwhile.
Right. Yep.
So
probably ramble about this for a while, but
yeah, no, that's all right. I think it was a good one to cover. It was on our list, and it's not one of those, we didn't want it to make it a dig at anything, just a blatant, like, here's how we see it. A topic to talk about of here's what we're seeing that's out there.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Same time next week, you'll be in sunny Florida. I'll be in. I think it's supposed to get up into the 30s next week. So,
well, I will send you some warm weather. I'll probably be sitting out on the patio.
You'll be taunting me.
Waving background.
All right. Well, hopefully, I believe we'll have a guest next week, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Yep. Should be a fun one.
Yes, it should. So thank you again if you made it all the way through. We appreciate it. Another episode of Mitten Athletics Live, and we will see you all next week.
See ya.
See ya.